Welcome to the channel, and thank you for being with us. Whether you're beginning your day, in the middle of it, or winding down, we're grateful you chose to make this a part of your day. If you've ever felt like your faith wavers when life gets hard, or you've asked yourself, how do I hold on when I can't see what's next? This video is for you. We're starting a brand new series called Growing a Faith That Lasts, where we explore what it really looks like to trust God, not just when it's easy, but when everything feels uncertain. Each video in this series will dig into a different truth about faith, what it is, how it grows, and how you can stand strong even when life doesn't make sense. So whether you're in a storm, at a crossroads, or just feeling spiritually dry, stick with me. We're going to walk through this together, and I believe your faith is about to get stronger than it's ever been. And remember, God has a plan for you. Now let's start with the foundation. Faith isn't about understanding God. It's about trusting Him when you don't. Faith doesn't begin when everything makes sense. It begins when nothing does. When the plan is unclear, when the path is blocked, when the outcome is uncertain, that's where faith steps in. Because if you could see it all, you wouldn't need faith. But real faith is trusting in what you can't see, following what you don't fully understand, and believing in what hasn't happened yet. Let me put it like this. Imagine you're standing at the edge of a cliff, and God says, jump. You look down, and there's no safety net, no bridge, no trampoline waiting, just air. Your heart races, your knees lock, and everything logical in you says, don't do it. But faith says, if He told you to jump, He already planned how He'll catch you. That moment, the space between your fear and your obedience, is where faith is formed. Hebrews 11:1 says, now faith is confidence in what we hope for, and assurance about what we do not see. That means you don't wait for proof to move, you move because of the one who promised. Growing a lasting faith starts by training your spirit to say yes, even when your senses say no. You see, we live in a culture that demands explanations. We're conditioned to think we need a reason for everything. Someone gets sick, we try to explain it. A door closes, we say, it must just not been God's will. A loved one dies suddenly. We scramble for answers like we're on some cosmic game show. But what if I told you not everything has an answer, at least not one we're meant to know on this side of eternity? And that's where real faith begins, not in clarity, but in trust. So if you're standing at the edge right now, heart racing, spirit unsure, know this: you're not expected to figure it all out. You're simply invited to trust. Because faith isn't about having the blueprint, it's about knowing who the builder is. God isn't waiting for you to understand. He's waiting for you to believe. He's already ahead of you, already preparing what you can't yet see. What feels like a cliff to you might just be a runway to Him. And what you call fear, He calls the beginning of courage. You don't need perfect faith to take the next step. You just need willing faith, because the picture is already painted. All He's asking is that you step into it. Now, let's talk about those moments when faith doesn't feel bold or strong, when it feels small, fragile, even barely there. Have you ever felt like your faith isn't enough? Like you should be trusting God, but deep down you're barely hanging on? Yeah, me too. And here's the truth, faith isn't always loud. Sometimes it's barely a whisper. Sometimes it's just that quiet, desperate, God please, when you don't even have the words to finish the sentence. You see, we often think faith has to roar, that it's measured in how confident or bold we sound. But Jesus said in Matthew 17:20, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move, and it will move. That's not just encouragement. That's Jesus redefining what enough looks like. It's not the size of your faith that moves the mountain. It's the presence of any faith at all as long as it's rooted in Him. But let me give you a different picture. Imagine you're standing outside in a brutal storm. The wind is howling, the rain's relentless. You've got a tiny match in your hand, just one small flame. That flame doesn't look like much compared to the storm, does it? But if you protect, cup your hand around it, shield it, it survives. And here's the part we often forget. That same tiny flame, the one barely surviving in the wind and rain, if taken into a dry forest, could burn the whole thing down. That's right. The same fragile-looking flicker that feels helpless in one environment becomes incredibly powerful in another. What changed? Not the flame, the context. It's not the size of your faith that determines its power. It's what your faith is connected to. In the right conditions, in the right moment, God can take that flicker of belief and use it to spark something massive, a movement, a breakthrough, a change in someone's life, including yours. So when your faith feels small, don't assume it's insignificant. Don't dismiss it just because it doesn't roar. That flicker has the potential to set your entire soul ablaze, because God is the one breathing on it. When your faith feels small, that's not the time to give up. That's the time to lean in. Because real faith isn't measured in volume. It's measured in resilience, in honesty, in surrender, in the decision to keep holding on when everything in you wants to let go. The most powerful prayers aren't always the loudest. Sometimes they're the broken ones, the whispered ones, the ones soaked in tears, the ones that simply say, God, I'm still here. So if your faith feels weak today, if it feels like everyone else is soaring while you're just surviving, take heart, because God sees you. He honors even the smallest act of trust, and He's not disappointed in your flickering flame. He's leaning down to breathe on it. You don't have to fake strength to be faithful. You just have to show up, mustard seed in hand, and believe that God is still God even when you're trembling, because it's not about how strong your grip is on Him. It's about how unshakable His grip is on you. Let that be your confidence today. God holds you even when your faith can barely hold on. We just talked about what it feels like when your faith seems small. But sometimes it's not just small. It feels like it's being tested from every direction. Pressure, conflict, silence from heaven. You wonder, is my faith falling apart or being formed into something stronger? So let me offer a different lens. Your faith isn't failing. It's being built in the fire. You see, growth doesn't happen in comfort. Faith doesn't stretch in safety. It deepens in adversity. And while no one signs up for the storm, it's in the storm that roots are forced to go deep. James 1:2-4 says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything." That verse isn't asking you to be happy about pain, it's inviting you to trust that there's a purpose in it. Let me give you a picture. Imagine two trees. One grows in gentle sunshine, watered on time, never shaken. The other grows in a field where the wind never lets up, where the ground cracks in dry seasons and rain comes in heavy floods. But the second tree? It survives because it's forced to dig its roots deep. And years later, when the storm of a lifetime hits, guess which one is still standing? The one that was built in the fire? That's what God's doing in you. He's not ignoring you. He's anchoring you. He's not breaking your faith. He's building it. Through the late nights, the questions, the "God, where are you?" prayers, He's shaping a faith in you that can't be blown over by life's chaos. So if you're in a season that feels like it's stretching every part of your soul, don't run, don't numb it, Don't assume it means you're doing something wrong. This isn't wasted, it's working, and it's preparing you to stand when others fall, to trust when others quit, to love when others harden. You're not broken. You're becoming unshakable. Keep showing up in the fire. Keep trusting, even in the silence. And keep planting your roots deep in His Word and presence. Because on the other side of this, you're going to realize God wasn't distant. He was doing deep work. So come back tomorrow. We're not done yet. There's more we need to talk about, and I believe it'll meet you right where you are. And remember, God has a plan for you.